Yep.
Stay focused.
That's what we're doing.
Have a seat, rest a while.
Where's the material?
All right, cool. Without further ado, here's Michael Linton.
Thank you, Imran. Thank you very much. Well, every time I look around the Occupy sites here and anywhere else on the internet, I keep hearing about money. Money seems to be a pretty central issue for all of us. And what I want to talk about is a different way of approaching this monetary issue, the monetary problem of our communities. Because there's one thing that's very clear, that if we try and resolve the money problem with the money that we're using at the moment, then we're fighting their battle on their territory with their armaments, and we're going to have a hell of a job.
Hear, hear.
I'm not saying don't take on the central banks. I'm not saying don't change our issuance policies. I'm not saying monetary reform is a hopeless task. But I do say it's a bloody big task. It's a hell of a job, and it's going to take an awful lot of time and energy, and we will be fought every inch of the way.
It's bloody good at it.
But it's not our money. Now, the proposition we have with open money, with community currencies, with personal money, is that you can have money that comes back when you spend it. Just as simply as that. Conventional money will never come back when you spend it. It's a goner. You can roll this thing out in a few months, probably even in a few weeks if we were eager to go for it. Now, we don't think an Occupy currency in itself is enough. Because basically the money you spend can go to anybody of 30 million people in Canada, another 300 million in the States, another 7 billion around. So we're challenging the paradigm by saying, get used to the idea. Conventional money is a goner. It's taking off. It has no loyalty to you and no interest in you. But if you start networks of relationship, what I call neo-tribal communities. And one of the interesting things about these communities is that they're not singular and unique. Early tribalism is very singular and unique. You belong to this tribe, you don't go to another one. Many networks. And there's no reason why most of those networks wouldn't benefit from having also an internal currency that kept things cooking around them. So the points I want to make are, we can have our own money, it's cheap, it's easy, it's legal, it's viable. Money ever is. Money is the unreal stuff that you swap for the real stuff. Somebody gives me a loaf of bread and I give them a piece of paper with $2 written on it, you know? I got the real stuff, they got the symbol, the ticket. And saying thank you is a very strong ticket for persisting engagement of a gift culture. There are no quick answers in this because it's a bit of a study. You've got to think about it for a little while. You've got to get your teeth into it. You've got to get a feel for it. Once you do, you're fine. And you'll see such a range of opportunity, it's absurd. And that will be our task today, is to work with any of you that are interested in this subject and just see where we can get in a couple of hours to look at the implementation of virtual community currencies in the Vancouver area, in the Occupy zone, specifically around issues like food, shelter, and homelessness. Food security, homelessness. So, I've given you at least 10 minutes. Any quick questions, or should we just convene to another spot and those of you who want to talk about it can join us? Seeing no questions.
A question.
A question.
Can we not move more directly to a moneyless state?
I have, can I say something? Okay, so money is a transitional thing, only needed when you don't have all of your resources. Understand?
Money is transitional thing only needed when you don't have all your resources.
So if everyone had enough food, enough clothes, enough everything, they wouldn't need money. Am I right?
Like basically.
Well, maybe.
What is the purpose of money in the first place, right?
Okay.
What do we use money for?
Money is the stuff that isn't real that you use to get stuff that is.
Okay, that's
not real.
The definition, but the point is that in our society and the way we use it, Money just represents our right to access resources.
Take the mic if you want to ask questions.
Yeah.
So everybody else can
Let's
hear.
do that.
Let's get him on mic.
Sorry. My question to you is, what is the purpose of creating a new money when money is the issue in the first place? Money is the problem in the first place. What we use money for, essentially, is to represent our right to access resources, because all we use money for is to exchange it for real things, like you're saying, right? So, when we do that, see, the way I think of it is, when you use money to represent your right to access resources, this is a way of valuing you. Right now you're worth your bank account. You're worth the amount of money that you can have and the amount of resources that you can access through that, instead of just being worth what everybody else is worth, which is being an equal human being, right? So if you want to value people equally and promote equality and right to resource, access to food and to education and stuff like that, you have to stop valuing people by money. And I just don't see how creating another monetary system is going to promote that equality of people.
What's your question?
My question is, what is the value of creating another monetary system that can just be, just, you know, what does it represent?
The question, your name?
Chris.
Chris has asked is, what's the point in one money? The one we've got sucks.
Well, what's the point in another
And
money?
I would say the money that we've got at the moment sucks because of how it works. It is a measure of value that ignores you. And yes, your point, if you've got a bunch in the bank, you're supposed to be valuable. If you've got none in the bank, you're not worthless.
The same question I find myself in. In 1970, we thought we were doing this work. We've had a hiatus, 50 years.
Do you want to come in and take a look?
Guys,
Take a look. It's kind of decorated.
Stay
nice, some
focused.
cool stuff.
Says have a seat, rest a while.
Where is it, Gutierrez?
I don't know.
Can't have gaffing after
What?
should be changing it.
There's a new one as of like 1 o'clock.
Just as a point of process, the document is as it was passed. You can't just update a document just because you're updating a document. It has to be passed by consensus. So that's kind of what we're doing here.
I think after the document was passed,
it
was amended.
It was amended.
So there are two versions.
So there are two versions.
Is
Okay.
that those who disagree must go to the next committee meeting or work group meeting, and then it says if nobody who disagrees does so, the proposal is automatically approved. So I don't know how records can handle figuring out what automatically is approved.